A brand new Emagine Theaters opening in Batavia on June 1st. Here to talk about the big celebration is Emagine Entertainment CEO Anthony LaVerde and James Jude Courtney, who plays Michael Myers in the last three Halloween films. Thank you so much for your time today.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Anthony, let's go ahead and start with you. For someone who's never been to an Emagine Theater before, we got a brand new one opening up in Batavia. Tell us a little bit about what they can expect.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us on, Rudy, and we're super excited to be opening in the Batavia area. So we have to give guests a compelling reason to leave their home, and we do that by offering what we believe is the premier movie-going experience. You know, heated recliners, gourmet popcorn, gourmet pizza straight out of a brick oven, large screens, large sound, and immersive technology with first in the United States immersive bowling experience here at Batavia. So we're super excited to show it off in the next couple of days and hopefully give guests a compelling reason to leave their home.
We have a big, exciting premiere here with Halloween, the 2018 version. James, first of all, let's talk. These movies freak me out. They've been a favorite of mine since I was a kid. But Haddonfield in Illinois. So I think, these movies are loved around the world, but especially for Illinois residents, I think they mean a little bit more. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Oh man, yeah. I'm really stoked to be here, by the way. Yeah. Haddonfield is legendary.
One of those places that you always imagine this kind of looks like my town. This could be somewhere, close to home. So even though you saw the movies, you got scared. I think people in Illinois always slept a little bit with one eye open because they were maybe just a little bit more afraid.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, so making these movies, these last three, we created Haddonfield in Charleston, South Carolina. We created Haddonfield in Savannah, Georgia, and Wilmington, North Carolina. Haddonfield, Illinois, is everywhere now.
That is amazing. Anthony, let's talk a little bit about your love of horror films and how Halloween became this the premiere movie for the Batavia Theater.
It really goes back to James. I'm honored to call James a friend, and we've done a few events with James, and it's a core value of Emagine to give back to their community. We don't just take. And when we pitched James the idea of helping us out with the Batavia United Way and our grand opening, he jumped on the opportunity, and James and I had a chance to have dinner last evening, and there's something he said at the dinner that, he gets immense pleasure and joy out of giving back to others. And that's really our core value. And we share that. So there's real synergistic feelings in between James and Emagine. And we're delighted to have him here.
You want to make sure to get those tickets early because they're only $5. So you want to make sure to get there so you can go into experience. There's going to be a Q&A. We're going to screen the movie, as well, too.
We have 6 tickets left.
Hurry up and get those tickets. James, tell me about the experience about going to see the original film in 1978. I heard you went on a date. Do you remember the date more, or did you remember being more interested in the movie?
I do not remember the date at all. But I walked out of that theater going, "This is a game changer." And how would I know that 40 years later I would end up playing that iconic role in an iconic film. And I spoke with John Carpenter just a couple of days ago. Nick Castle, John, and I took a little picture, together, and we had a nice little conversation. And to look at the legacy, the immense creativity, and I'm so blessed to have been dropped in to this, to this mythology. And I got to say, man, I'm super stoked to be a part of the Emagine process because, man, these guys are doing it right. They are bringing back the magic of going to the theater.
James, you just talked about hanging out with Nick Castle recently. Tell me a little bit what that experience was like, especially him having cameos in the latter 3 film or latter 2 films. But what was it like connecting with him throughout this whole process?
Well, it's kind of funny. I mean, this is the way life goes. It's just like my friendship with Anthony. It's like, he walked on the set in the middle of 2018. We've never talked about the character, by the way. He walked on the set in 2018. We did a transition scene where he was in the window as Jamie pulls up and sees him in the window. But when they shoot the mirror out, that was me, and so, because the weapon was about 2 feet behind and 1 foot to the right of me, and they didn't want to put Nick Castle near a flying projectile. But and the second one, he was there, of course, hanging out. He wasn't in the second one, but the third one he played the flasher. We're just fast friends. I mean, literally, we travel together. We hang out at his house, and he's the kindest, most self-deprecating, funniest guy you're ever going to meet. And profoundly talented. I mean, look at his filmography. So I feel just honored that I've been put in this place with such talented people.
You just mentioned Jamie Lee Curtis. That Oscar moment was so, especially for me growing up watching her films. And I got to meet her about 20 years ago, and it was just such a magical experience that I always treasure. And there were so many wonderful nominees, but I was still like extra rooting for her. And it was just awesome to see her, take home such a big prize, especially for such a wonderful career she's had.
Well, Sarah and I, because we live in South Carolina, we went out for the Oscars and we sat there just crying like babies when she won. I mean, I was babbling like a little, 3-month-old. I mean, it's that woman, and she is one of the most profoundly beautiful human beings. I mean, she's strong and intelligent and self-deprecating as well, and sense of humor. And but the thing is she's a poster child for an empowered woman. So I think what we're looking at in this woman is the new idea of what it takes to be a woman, what a woman should be. So I encourage everybody to pay attention to Jamie Lee Curtis, because she's insanely talented, but more than that, she's just a profoundly beautiful person.
She's wonderful. She's funny. She lifts everybody else up as well too. So you just feel good. I've met her once for 10 minutes, 20 years ago, but I just love her energy and her spirit. And it's just such a wonderful and refreshing thing to see.
Oh, absolutely. And, for instance, everything she does for the Children's Hospital in Los Angeles, everything she does. And so, again, this brings us back to, what Anthony and Emagine is doing, and what we're doing here together is, we're all in this together in this world, man. And that's the beauty of going to the theater, is you have that experience. You remind yourself that, wait a minute, this is my family, the family of humanity. And if we get to laugh together, we get to, be scared together, we cry together. It just exponentially heightens that experience. And for what? For $11, you know what I mean?
And for this movie, it's going to be $5, so even a better deal. Anthony, tell me a little bit about the experience, especially, you have 3 theaters. You're going to have 3 theaters here in the Chicagoland area, plus all throughout the Midwest. But what's it like seeing the fans, especially when it's a horror film or a movie that people have been anticipating, and you see them on either a date or with their group of friends? Tell me a little bit about that feeling that you get to see.
Yeah, we like to personalize Emagine, and we have a hashtag making a memory, and folks will post about their experiences at Emagine while they're there. And it really does run the spectrum to first dates, to folks proposing, birthday parties, and even just our employee base. We're a family, and we like to have our employees spend their life here. So we have multiple C-level executives that started as ushers years ago. So we like to believe Emagine is part of a community where we take that to heart. We're empathetic, and we really believe the most important aspect of our business is providing an exemplary out-of-home experience for our guests, and our guests are the most important.
Awesome. And James, here, final question. As far as meet and greets and conventions and the things that you've done, throughout the years, craziest tattoo or craziest fan experience that you've had up until this point?
It's that gets into the unmentionables. But I have to say this. I have to say that horror fans, because I've met thousands and thousands of them, are the kindest, most gentle, most generous people you're ever going to meet. And I have this theory that horror fans work out their pathologies, their subconscious pathologies, through watching horror. I have so many fans of EMT, firefighters, cops, emergency room docs, combat veterans. And I'm in the gym, and I know several guys who are still in the military, and I've been told, we'll go into a firefight, in the thick of it, blood and gore and limbs flying everywhere. We go back and watch a movie to decompress. So I really think there's something in watching these films that I swear I've never met one rude human being at a horror convention. I've met tens of thousands of them. I mean, it's really, really special.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much for your time today. Emagine-entertainment.com for tickets. Grand opening on June 1st. Like Anthony said, 6 tickets left. There's going to be none by the time this interview finishes airing. So make sure you go ahead and get those tickets, and plus go check out all the other wonderful films that they have playing here in Chicagoland and across the Midwest.
Thank you, Rudy. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thanks.